Jackson back with you at Song Mentor. Today's relaxed selection is Pink Houses by John Cougar Mellencamp. You know, this song has a wonderful origin. Mellencamp was driving along a freeway in his home state of Indiana, and he looked down and saw this old black fellow sitting in his shotgun pink house with his cat in his arms, completely oblivious to the freeway traffic going by. And that sight and that image planted the seed for Pink Houses in his head. It was recorded and released on the album in 1983. Here's John Cougar Mellencamp, one of Rolling Stone's top 500 songs of all time, Pink Houses. All right, this is a great tune. It's built around a really nice free-flowing rhythm pattern and some dynamics which are built into the song, where it starts out with a certain feel and a certain level of intensity, and then the band and the intensity of the song picks up as we get into it. It's a simple song as far as chords go, but the rhythm is essential for this. So I'll teach you the intro in just a moment here, but the chords you need for Pink Houses are, you're going to need this modified G chord, and I always call it a super G. You know, I went through every chord book I have, and I still, if you guys can email me if you know the name of this chord, the actual name of the chord. But basically it's a G chord, and I'm using the 2, 3, 4 finger method to play an open G, and then of course the pinky finger, the 4 finger, covers the D note on the B string as well. So it covers those two, the first and second strings at the 3rd fret, and then fingers 2 and 3 cover up here. So that's, I call it a super G, but it really is an enhanced G chord, and that's the main chord you're going to need for all the strumming. Like so. You're also going to need what's called a C add 9. And you can, I by habit, I put my 4 finger there because that's part of the C chord. But it's basically taking that G chord, and this is why I play the G with 2, 3, and 4 fingers. So when you switch to the C add 9, all you really need to do is go from here to here with those 2 fingers. You're playing the G, the super G, and you move those 2 fingers up a string. So the 3rd finger goes to the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and the 2nd finger goes to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And we have a C add 9. Now by habit, I end up putting my 1st finger down here because it forms the C chord, and then I do this with the pinky, and that's a C add 9. So you need the super G, the C add 9. You also need an open D chord, which we are going to sus4 and sus2. We're going to play around a bit with that sort of feel, the Birds kind of feel to that chord. And finally you need just a regular F major chord and a regular open C chord. And some people ask me how I play this F major, but I'm fingering it like this. I've got my 1st finger covers the 1st, 2nd, and actually the 3rd strings. My 2nd finger covers the 3rd string at the 2nd fret, and my 3rd and 4th fingers cover the 5th and 4th strings at the 3rd fret. And then just a regular open C. So just to review, super G, C add 9, open D, an F major chord, and an open C chord. And everything else is built around the strumming, which I'm going to show you right now. Okay, that's the strumming pattern we're going to use for Pink Houses, and it's as simple as this. It's an up, down, up, and then deaden the strings with the heel of your hand, and then 3 up-ups, each followed by a deadening of the hand. So up, deaden, up, deaden, up, deaden, up, deaden. And that's the pattern. And then it repeats. Up, deaden, up, deaden, up, deaden, up, deaden, up, up, deaden. I'm using deaden instead of kill. It's now a little bit nicer sounding. Not much, but a little. Okay, so like that. And in super slow. And again, it repeats. So that pattern over and over again throughout the song is going to get you through 90% of pink houses. All right, let's talk about that really effective intro. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our third finger. We're on this G chord, and I like to start the song by being sort of at the G chord position with my third finger on the G note of the low E string. And we're going to slide up from that G note to the B note of the 7th fret. And then we're going to find it, and this is going to be a little bit tricky. You've got to find the open G string and pick up on it. So it's, and this is not going to stay here because we've got to go right back down to that super G chord like this. You want to practice that several times, and then of course we add the strumming after that. Times 4. I'm going to do that 4 times before we start the regular strumming pattern that I showed you, and of course that's where the lyric comes in. So just again in kind of slow motion here. And I'm showing you the strumming here too because it's a little bit different than the regular strumming for the song. All right, I've already shown you my preference for the super G and the C add 9 chords. You can, if you like, play it much straighter than that, and that is okay, just a regular G and a regular C chord. If you like that better, as opposed to me, this is a little fuller, and so I like it a little better. But your choice there, whether to go with the straight chords or the enhanced chords. All right, let's work through a verse progression here. I won't sing it as well as I hope. I'll sing it a little bit later, but just to get through it and give you an idea where the chord changes are and the sequence for a verse. Here we go. 1, 2.
There's a black man with a black cat living in a black neighborhood. Got an interstate running through his front yard. You know he thinks that he's got it so good. And there's a woman in the kitchen cleaning up the evening slide. And he looks at her and says, "Hey darling, I can remember when you could stop a clock."
Sometimes it's kind of helpful to know lyrically which lyric you change chords on. So in this case, as you're strumming through the super G, you know it thinks she's got it so good. So it's thinks for the F chord. He's got for the C chord. So good. Then when we get to the second half of the verse, we go through, there's a woman in the kitchen cleaning up the evening slop. And he looks at her and says, "Hey darling," and he looks, so the F is on the looks, "Hey darling," and the C is on the darling, and then back into the super G. So I hope that helps you a little bit with that. Now let's talk about the chorus. All right, the chorus. Well, the first chorus is a little bit more subdued, and it's at the end of the first chorus where the song really kicks in. So you'll probably see as I just kind of go through the sequence here that when we get back into the that it comes in pretty strong, because now this is, you know, in the moment in the song where the band kicks in. Now if you're playing this on your own, you can still kick in with a little bit more dynamics as we begin the second verse. But anyway, here's the chorus. We're going to shuttle back and forth between the C add 9 and that super G. Then we're going to go to a D chord, and then an open C, and then the riff. Okay, so here we go. Oh, but ain't that America, you and me, ain't that America, something to see, babe, ain't that America, home of the free, little pink houses, you and me. All right, you'll notice that when we went to the D chord, I did include a D sus4 there, which of course is just flattening out the third finger to cover the G note of the first string. To the C, to the riff. You can play around with that D. You can do a D sus, throw a D sus2 in there. That's just lifting off your second finger off the D chord. Add that, lift that off, and you've got D sus4 and D sus2. If you want to play around with those a little bit. But let's take a closer look at the strumming for the chorus. Ain't that America? Ain't that America? Ain't that America? All right, there really is no lead solo, but the instrumental section does cycle through F, C, and G. I'm playing a super G. And here's a couple things you can do to spice it up a little bit. When you grab the F chord, you can take your pinky finger and place it on the G note again of the high E string, and then pick through those top three strings. And when you switch to the C, you can keep your finger there, and then to the super G again. Another thing you can do is when you hit the C chord, you can turn it into a C sus quickly by flattening out that first finger from the C note to include the F note on the high E string. So start with the F. Just another thing, and a lot of times you'll hear when he's playing through the instrumental part, he'll be really emphasizing, almost like a Canned Heat boogie song or T-Rex. That sort of thing. Just a few little things you can do during the instrumental section. Now let's head into an elongated playthrough. We'll do the intro and a couple of verses and a couple of choruses. All right, just before we head into the playthrough, I want to show you a little variation here that I'm going to use in this song, just because it's a little easier to grab. Whenever I go to grab that F in the middle of a verse, instead of grabbing the full F major, what I'm going to do is this. So comes this chord, and all I'm really doing there, the C add 9 is like this, and this is everything up one more string again. So there's the G, super G, move those two fingers up one string to get the C add 9, and move those two fingers up one more string each, so we're on 3 and 2. And that's a modified F chord, and it's much easier to grab. You'll see it in the song. It'll be like this. So your choice, you can go back to... Some people like the sound of that better, but in this playthrough, I'm going to use this little... What that does is it keeps this as an integral part of all the chording. All right, the playthrough.
There's a black man with a black cat living in a black neighborhood. He got an interstate running through his front yard. You know things, he's got it so good. And there's a woman in a kitchen cleaning up the evening slop. And he looks at her and says, "Hey darling, I can remember when you could stop the clock. Oh, but ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, babe, ain't that America? Home of the free, and little big houses for you and me." And a young man in a t-shirt living near a railroad station. He got greasy hair, greasy smile. He says, "Lord, this must be my destination." 'Cause it told me when I was younger, so boy, you're gonna be president. But just like everything else, those crazy old men just kinda came and went. But ain't that America? You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, babe, ain't that America? Home of the free, little big houses for you and me, yeah.
Fine tuning for Pink Houses. Well, this song is near and dear to the heart and the heartland of America. It's got a really infectious rhythm to it and strumming pattern. It's got that catchy intro riff, which is very, very recognizable. Also a little bit tricky because you got to grab that G string. Some nice stuff in here to play along with. This is a wonderful campfire song, and a song I think you'll enjoy playing for friends and even on your own. All right, take care, folks. Pink Houses, John Cougar Mellencamp. We'll see you next time on Song Mentor.